In the late 90s and early 2000s, Miami had some of the most insane talent of all time, and they put up crazy numbers at the next level. What's up, y'all? I'm Deeg, and today we're diving into Miami Hurricanes NFL production since 2000. That is, how Miami players have produced statistically since entering the NFL. Here's how their aggregate production ranks per position group. First in tight ends, second in running backs, third in linebackers, third in wide receivers, fifth in defensive backs, sixth in defensive line, and 60th in quarterbacks. Let's dive in. While there has been a lot of recency bias around Iowa being tight end U, the truth is Miami is still miles ahead. Here's how Miami tight ends have produced this century: 37,377 receiving yards, 292 receiving touchdowns, and 3,306 receptions. This production comes from players like Greg Olsen, Jimmy Graham, Jeremy Shockey, Kellen Winslow, David Njoku, Bubba Franks, etc. Miami is so far ahead that you can remove any of those players I just mentioned, and they'd still be in first place for all categories. Moving on to the ground attack, it is no secret that Miami has produced an insane amount of elite running backs. This century, Miami running backs combined for 57,868 rushing yards and 363 rushing touchdowns in the NFL. A majority of it comes from the quartet of Frank Gore, Edgerrin James, Clinton Portis, and Willis McGahee. But there's also 11 more running backs that contributed to those numbers, including Lamar Miller and Duke Johnson. Per my numbers, Miami also leads rushing statistics in the NFL all time. If you want a deeper dive on the running back U conversation, I have a video of that in my page. But for now, let's move on to the linebackers. This century, Miami linebackers have combined for 96 forced fumbles, 76 interceptions, 181.5 sacks, 8,400 tackles, and 550 tackles for loss. The high rankings on all stat categories except for sacks is directly correlated to the fact that Miami has produced great middle linebackers while not as many outside linebackers. Most notably, you have Ray Lewis, Jonathan Vilma, DJ Williams, John Beeson, Denzel Perryman, and Michael Barrow. If you're enjoying the content so far, consider helping out the channel and dropping a sub. But let's keep moving along. In the aerial attack, Miami wide receivers combined for 57,348 receiving yards, 328 receiving touchdowns, and 4,300 receptions. The easy way to describe this production is quality over quantity. Miami did not have nearly as many wide receivers in the league as some of the other top wide receiver producers, but they had three 10,000-yard receivers this century, with Reggie Wayne, Andre Johnson, and Santana Moss. On the aerial defense side, Miami DBs have combined for 252 interceptions, 873 passes defended, 78 forced fumbles, 6,300 tackles, and 187 tackles for loss. These stats were combined from a total of 39 DBs. Most notably, you have Ed Reed, Sean Taylor, Antrell Roll, Philip Buchanan, Sam Shields, Brandon Merriweather, Dwayne Starks, Earl Little, and Rayshawn Jenkins. In the trenches, Miami defensive linemen have combined for 407 sacks, 682 tackles for loss, 4,000 tackles, 73 forced fumbles, and 206 passes defended. This production is headlined by Calais Campbell, Warren Sapp in the second half of his career, Olivier Vernon, Vince Wilfork, Damian Lewis, Kenny Holmes, Alan Bailey, and Gregory Rousseau. Overall, Miami had an absolute elite 2000s of production in nearly all positions except for QB and to a lesser extent offensive line. But what do you guys think? Can Mario bring the U back to prominence when it comes to talent production? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one.